Hey everyone, my name is chaoticwolph and welcome back to Homestuck, where everything has gone terrible and our only lone hero John here is the one who can supposedly fix everything. So now he's off to do that. But we don't know how he's gonna do that or what's gonna happen to our other poor characters, but you know, no choice because everyone's like pretty much dead, so do it, John. I'll make sure none of this ever happens. Yes, hopefully, but that also makes me sad because then these characters will be gone. Because, you know, that's just how time works. Meanwhile, dead Jade and a dead Callie exploring their childhood, I guess? I don't know. I'm starting to remember the things she told me so vividly now. It's amazing what a creative project can do to get your mind turning. What shall I draw first? The Land of Wind and Shade. That is where the story starts. I see. Which story exactly? Her story or yours? Both, as a matter of fact. My story began with a tragedy on Loas, which led to meeting her in the first place, and then she used my memory of that tragedy as a starting point for her story, which turned out to be related. Ooh, fascinating. I love stories. I know. I'll start with mine, since that will make everything else make sense. So go ahead and start drawing. What? Loas, right. Right, she's the artist and then Jade is the storyteller. How's this? Looks good. Don't forget to put a really tall house poking out at the top. Oh yes, of course. So this is... Loas was John's, right? Wait, no, Loas is hers. So, I guess... Yeah, that's a really tall house. Yeah, accurate. Jade, extremely tall house, I guess. So you say your story begins with a tragedy? What shall I draw next to depict this tragedy? Nothing yet. I'll get to that. But yes, the tragedy is why I was alone on the golden ship. It was not long after our 3-year journey began. Wait, what? Okay, so in Callie's, or other Callie's session, John dies while they were on their journey? That's bizarre. I was relaxing in our makeshift living room, giving John and Dave Sprite some space to themselves for a while so they could catch up. John wanted to visit his home again, so I happily obliged and shrunk them both down so they could hang out in his tiny tall house. Is that what that was? It seemed like a nice thing to do, but I came to regret that decision more than any I've ever made. I was minding my own business when out of nowhere. Oh, why did it suddenly crack? Loas exploded. Wait, so Loas is John's planet. So what happened? Were Dave, Sprite, and John fighting or something? Or just decided to spontaneously combust on his own? I couldn't believe it. It was totally inexplicable. There was no trace of them at all. They were both dead. I suppose it must have meant John's death was heroic, but I couldn't for the life of me imagine how. To me, it was as pointless and arbitrary as a death could be. Why do you have these swirls like your Callie? I looked within myself as hard as I could to see if there was some power I had, and all my omnipotence to bring them back, but I couldn't. They were gone. I would spend the next 3 years on that ship without my 2 best friends. Sure, there were still consorts and chess guys to keep me company, but that's not the same, you know. But the loss was too much for me to bear. I felt so alone. So she fell into depression or something, right? Is that a picture of Dad? Weeks and months went by. I didn't have the slightest sense of how quickly or slowly time was passing. Any sense of purpose to reaching the destination had vanished. And delicious though it was, no amount of Nana's cake would bring me comfort. Toward the end of the journey, when I was feeling particularly despondent... Callie appeared or something? I fell asleep and had a dream, and that is when I met a very powerful, strangely charismatic creature. Her name was Calliope. I don't quite understand what's happening here, because like, Jade is kind of telling a story like that is what happened? But this is supposed to be like a different Jade, right? But then she met her in a dream. I don't know, this is getting more complicated. As I said, she was somewhat like you, and yet so unlike. Her presence was so serious and grave. Her hollow eyes were piercing, but not hostile. But the prevailing sense I got from her was one of loneliness. Before she even said a word, I could feel somehow that this was a deeply lonely soul. Until I met her, I thought I was the loneliest person in the universe. But a feeling told me she had been here by herself for a long time. I felt sorry for her. Relating to her plight helped me overcome the feelings of intimidation. So we began to talk. We traded stories about ourselves. She spoke of the brother she killed. I spoke of the brother I lost, and when I mentioned John's death, That is when she became very serious again. She began to recount how John had died, repeating to me the same story I just told you. She described the spontaneous destruction of Loas, which left me alone for years. I wonder why she was recounting this tragedy that happened to me, and for that matter, how she knew of it herself. She went on to say that Loas was destroyed because John's denizen had suddenly woken up. Is it because the other John went there to see the denizen and somehow that exploded? It's very bizarre. Tafai is a great monster of truly terrifying power. She said he had destroyed his land and slayed his own heir of breath, not out of malice, but to make a slight correction. I asked her, what do you mean, correction? Correction because she messed around, he messed with time, right? She said that the John from my reality and his entire planet needed to be erased, and that the slumbering denizen in all his mysterious wisdom knew this. She told me that the dreams of a denizen draw from the same well of potential from which every conceivable possibility arises, the same place Gaia gets its power from. So if an agreement with a denizen is reached in one reality, that same denizen in another reality could become aware of it and respond accordingly. It seems that John, somewhere in some other plane of existence, had made just such an agreement. She said that the John I knew, like herself, was only one version of a person. There was a different version of John from another reality poised to play a more significant role. You see, the John from that reality, in an act of desperation, has gone to see Typhoeus and struck a bargain with him. She will go on to explain the nature of that bargain in the next part of her story, but from my perspective, the consequence of this bargain was to lose my friends, and to live with that for years without understanding why. Losing them still hurt, but I was so relieved to at least understand the reason, and to realize their senseless deaths was actually serving a bigger purpose. I thanked her for letting me know. She was not human? Is that what you're saying? She told me she was not human and had no frame of reference for empathizing with my feelings, but if there was one thing she could relate to, it was the feeling of being alone. The feeling of waiting for what seems like eternity by yourself until finally your purpose presents itself. Like you two right now, you two lonely birds. I feel sorry for her. For myself, I suppose. But then again, that feeling is nothing new. Huh. It's an odd statement she made though. What? Not having the frame of reference for empathizing with human feelings? If you ask me, I would say I have the advantage to relate to both humans and cherubs. So when you describe your feelings of sadness over losing friends, I have more than enough grounds for commiseration. Do you think that this version of me never what? Never had human friends like I did? I have no idea. What a strange thought. To grow up with only my brother for company, and not even have any human friends to get me by. What a dreadful fate. The poor thing. Maybe that was the difference. What let her predominate over her brother, whereas I was too, humanly socialized to succeed in my cherubic rite of passage? Could be. I don't know enough about cherub rites of passage to say either way. Human rites of passage either, for that matter. So then what happened? Right, anyway. That's when she began her story in earnest. The one she summoned me in my dreams to tell me. The story of the other John who made a deal with Typhoeus. It began with the same place mine did. Loas. So, go on. What? Draw Loas again. Oh, wait. All over again? No, you can just copy the first one you did. You guys can copy and paste on paper. What a lovely idea. I hate to hold up the pace of your exciting tale with a bunch of superfluous doodling. Why not, guys? It's so good. She's such a good artist, you know, way better than that other Caliborn there, you know. I still don't understand what's happening though. Is this our Jade? Sounds like a different version. Good enough? Yes, but there's also supposed to be glitches around. Okay, they're talking about our version now. So is this not our version of Jade? But isn't it our version of Jade that died? I'm so confused, okay. Glitches? What do you mean by glitches? Like computery glitches, I think? That sounds hard to draw. Okay, why don't we not worry about showing the glitches for this story? They would just make it harder to see what's going on. Which is probably the point now that I think about it. The point of what? I ain't never done much about it. It just seemed like a weird detail she mentioned, but I guess it was some strange form of corruption in the recession that made everything harder to understand. Where did the corruption come from? No idea. I guess it was just one more way everything got messed up for them. Like, just another surreal obstacle for a hero to overcome. Oh, that reminds me. You need to draw John there as well. Righto. Righto, guys. Righto. There you go. One hero sans surreal obstacles. When she mentioned that, I didn't give it a second thought. But now that I am trying to reconstruct everything and tell you what to draw, I guess when you're trying to tell a story, it forces you to think a lot more about everything than when you're just listening to one. 'Tis quite true. Perhaps you should start writing? How does she begin? Let me think. Maybe we should pause before I go on. Pause? Like some sort of intermission? Really? Jade, we're gonna do that? So I can collect my thoughts a bit, and to give the audience a little breather between two significant arcs. We were at it for a pretty good while there, after all. What? Audience? Well, that would be you in this case. Ooh, I know. I can doodle a quick story about the antics of the silly consorts on the golden ship before moving on. I can't even read what kind of face that is, Callie. Intermission, really? An intermission while we're drawing? I mean, an intermission of an intermission, basically. One of the things I did to pass the time on the ship was give them funny names. Let's meet our cast of characters for this intermission, shall we? Calliope's just like ... Let's see. There was Bubble-Upuggus. That's super hard to say, Jade. Dips Ahoy, Knackby Nimble, Slowpoke Malone. Jade. She's probably like, what are you doing, Jade? Detective Glup's Budget, Fidgety Herbert, Dr. Snossages, Yiffy Yiff. Jade! Huh? I'm sorry, but I don't care about this right now. Your consort friends are all so very cute and their names are silly and I love them all, but I want to hear the rest of the story. Please, let's get back to illustrating her story. I'm so curious. Please. Wow, okay, sorry. Yes, you're right, this is a stupid diversion. Let's continue. Callie, your hand? did she reveal her true hand and all of her, like, anger or, like, excitement? I don't even know. She let her disguise down. No! Let your disguise down! Oops! Pay no attention to that. Do carry on. Callie! Callie! Stop hiding it. So, anyway, like I said, she just finished telling me that she was able to be her brother in this reality. But apparently, that wasn't supposed to happen. So she lived out the rest of her life in a doomed timeline and eventually died. Well, that sucks. She didn't mention how. And then she did this kind of fancy transition? Darn, I don't think I'll do it justice. A transition of a story about my brother, who was stuck in a doomed timeline too. I think I'll mess it up if I try to match what she said word for word. She had a really fanciful way of putting things. There's no need to try to recite what she said, just tell the story in your own voice, as you have already been doing. It'll be more fun that way. Okay, so the bottom line was, almost all our friends had died, and John's only hope was to return to his planet and attempt to complete his personal quest. I mean, that's basically what happened, Jade, well put. As you know, we all have personal quests that are unique to our planets. The nature of the quest is never easy to understand at first. They are presented to us through enigmatic riddles, conveyed through the lore of the land. For John, it was to journey to the place where constellations danced beneath the clouds. It was said that the air of breath was to free the stars from the shade and release them into heaven. This was just a mysterious way of saying that he really, or saying what he really had to do. Which is what? Clear the artifact crap, probably, right? Oh, fireflies, what? The stars were actually fireflies. They've been flying around trapped beneath the overcast sky ever since John first brought Loas into existence by his arrival, and paradoxically, they've been imprisoned there for ages even before that. Such is the way of our lands. They're newly born the day we arrive, and yet they always were. To free the fireflies, John would have to play a special song. It had to be played just right to summon the breeze through the pipes. But there was a problem. The pipes, I feel like we talked a little bit about that back during one of the interactive flashes or something. The pipes were all clogged with oil. The first day John came to his land, oil began oozing up from the core, flooding the pipes and filling the oceans. To play the song, first he would need to clean up the oil. And to do that, he would need to face the slumbering one himself. He would need to face Typhoeus. But as he wandered through the catacombs down to the planet's core, he wasn't thinking about freeing fireflies or cleaning up oil. He was seeking the help of his denizen to master a power he couldn't control. Luckily for him, denizens always seem to understand what you want, and more importantly, what you need, whether you know it or not. Is something wrong, Callie? Go ahead and draw Typhoeus. Oh, yes, you do know what he looks like, don't you? I believe I do. It doesn't have to be perfect, just draw a big green snake monster. Like you guys. A big green snake monster, you say? That sounds suspicious, don't you think? Yes, a snake monster with the most unspeakably hideous face you can imagine. Well, that hurts. But you don't have to be too literal about that. Feel free to draw something a little more representational. I'm not sure if I am particularly comfortable rendering such imagery. Why not? It strikes me as rather indecent for reasons I would be too embarrassed to explain. It's because they're only in that form when they're having serpent sex. That's okay, why don't I draw it? Very well, but you must excuse me if I giggle. Giggle all you want, Callie, okay? Okay, but I don't see what's so indecent about a big old snake. Teehee. Lol. Lol. Yeah, there's nothing indecent about that. This is just what she did, the thing in her basement? Is that what it was? The thing, that giant ass snake thing in her basement looked like. When John got to the core, he arrived to find Typhoeus awake and ready for him. Giggle. He was then presented with the choice. Snicker. Stop, you're gonna make me crack up too. This part is serious. I apologize, please. Snort. Go on. Go on. It's kind of glitchy here, isn't it? Ooh, god, that sounds terrifying. I think it's all the pipes, you know, so like the loud, it just goes like bouncing off all the freaking pipes, so it makes it sound even louder and echoey. Also, isn't this like the exact same thing that Caliborn met and his denizen? It's so weird. The head is all glitched up, but like the rest is like a giant serpent body that looks almost like a pipe body. So weird. His choice was presented as a kind of riddle, spoken in a language only he could understand, spelling out the conditions he must accept. But speaking from experience, once a player is given the choice between two courses of action, it will hardly feel like a choice at all. If the heart is in the right place, then the right thing to do always seems obvious. So John accepted his denizen's terms, and with that we escaped the freaky growling sounds. Oh, he disappeared. What? Why? Typhoeus opened valves to the core and flooded it with oil. Thanks, Typhoeus. To like what, drown him? There was no way out. He could not transform into wind because he was completely submerged, so he was faced with two possibilities. Either he could figure out how to make himself disappear completely using the ability he hoped to master, or he could drown in the oil. That's what the denizens do, man. They do, like, basically they put you into like terrible situations where you're like forced to use your ability. So basically it's like survive or die, you know? Drowning obviously would have been bad, but disappearing wouldn't be much better. He would appear somewhere else, having made no progress on his personal quest. His planet would still be polluted, and he would be no closer to playing his song. Somehow he understood the only way was to conceive of a third option, an idea beyond the simple binary set of outcomes before him. And interestingly, it was coming to this understanding which gave him the first glimpse of how to control the power. He realized it wasn't himself that he needed to make disappear. What are you saying? But like the other things around him? It was the oil. I mean, yeah, that also makes sense, but that's new. John definitely haven't been able to make other stuff disappear yet. He dispersed every drop throughout existence. That's... Oh my god, guys. We were going crazy of all the oil. I mean, at least I thought I was going crazy. I was like, why is there always weird smudges all over the goddamn place? It was literally oil. Oh my god. This is like just like the arm thing. God damn it, John. It was always you. It was always goddamn you. Oh, you and your arms and your oil. I think some of these are retcon though, because I don't think there was oil in all of these places. I mean, I could be wrong. But that's a lot of oil. So since he learned the ability to like basically move other stuff into other places, how would that work? I mean, it's a useful ability, but I don't really see how that's gonna work unless you're able to multiply yourself, which I mean you kind of can already do just because by, you know, going to different times, even if there's one of you, it's like there's multiple versions of you. Leaving a little mark for anyone who might notice, signifying his final mastery over his confining reality. But do it fast, okay? Frisco deathbed. And all this other stuff. Yeah, I definitely feel like this was added on here. I don't know. I don't remember. Okay, there was definitely no oil on this drawing here. Isn't this Days and Karka's ridiculous drawing when they were like fighting over the pen or whatever? Yep. Okay. So what we gotta do with all these oil? But more importantly, what's with this giant black? Oh, what is this? What is this? What the heck is this? Retcon. Let's see what the hell this is. Oh, it's just all the pages that I guess that were changed. Okay. I mean that's fine. I don't need to go over and look at it again. But that's cool. So we know all the pages that were changed. I mean, they were probably like that already by the time I'm reading, I guess. Leaving his planet clean, thus completing his quest, and therefore what? And the pipes clear. And so he could play a song, I guess. Finally, they were ready to let the breeze flow. Which means what? So he could play a song. Oh wait, is playing the song making the glitch go away? No, I don't think so. It's still kind of glitchy. Okay, playing the song frees the fireflies. But what's the point of doing that? What's the reward? Because it's like completing a quest, so they should get like some reward for it. The consorts are very excited though. They're like, look at all this wind, guys! Is that Typheus standing there with her dumb face? Wait, what's happening? His power is expanding the screen. What? It did clear all the stardust. See? That's what I was saying. It was making all the glitchy stuff go away. So, John's windy powers made all the... He blew away all the stardust out of the cartridge. Which means it will make it all unglitchy again, which is good, but... How is that like gonna be a step towards gaining, you know, the reality bending powers? But anyway guys, I'll be leaving this episode here, so thank you guys so much for watching this. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next video.